सुत उवाच इति भीतः प्रजाद्रोहात् सर्वधर्मविवित्सया ततो विनाशनं प्रागात् यत्र देवाव्रतोपतत्.
Sutta Goswami said, being afraid for having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaja Yudhishthira went to the scene of the massacre. There, Bhishmadama was lying on a bed of arrows about to pass away.
तदा ते भ्रात्रः सर्वे सदश्वै स्वर्णभूषितै अन्वगच्छन् रथैर्विप्रा व्यासधौम्याद्यशस्तथा.
At that time, all his brothers followed him on beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses decorated with gold ornaments. With them were Vyasa and rishis like Dhoma, the land priest of the Pandavas, and others.
भगवानपि विपर्षे रथेन स धनञ्जय सते व्यारोचता नृपः कुबेरा इव गुव्यकै.
A sage amongst the Brahmanas, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, also followed, seated on a chariot with Arjuna. Thus, King Yudhishthira appeared very aristocratic, like Kuvera, surrounded by his companions, the Guyakas.
दृष्ट्वा निपतितं भूमौ दिव्यश्च्युतम् इवामरं प्रणेमु पाण्डवा भीष्मं सानुगाः सचक्रिणा.
Seeing him, Bhishma, lying on the ground like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandava king Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers and Lord Sri Krishna, bowed down before him.
तत्र ब्रह्मर्षयः सर्वे देवर्षयश्च सत्तम राजर्षयश्च तत्रासन् द्रष्टुं भरतपुङ्गवम्.
Just to see the chief of descendants of King Bharata, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis amongst the demigods, brahmanas and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there.
पर्वतो नारदो धौम्यो भगवान् बादरायणः बृहदश्वो भरद्वाजः शिष्यो रेणुकासुता वसिष्ठ इन्द्रप्रमादः कृतो घृत्सामदोस्तिः सितः कक्षिवान् गौतमौ त्रिश्च कौशिकौ थ सुदर्शनः.
All the sages like Parvata Muni, Narada, Dhoma, Vyasa, the incarnation of God, Brihadashva, Bharadwaja, and Parashurama Rama, and disciples Vasishta, Indrapramoda, Trita, Gritsamada, Asita, Kashivan, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, Kaushika, and Sudarshana were present.
अन्यच मुनयो ब्राह्मण ब्रह्मारतादयो मलाः शिष्यरूपेत आजग्मुः कश्यपङ्गिरसादयः.
And many others like Sukadeva Goswami and other purified souls, Kaushika and Angirasa and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there.
Close the light, can you please? तान् समेतान् महाभागान् उपालभ्य वसुत्तमा पूजयामास धर्मज्ञो देशकालविभागवित्.
Bhishmadeva, who was the best amongst the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there, for he knew perfectly all the religious principles according to time and place.
Krishnam cha tatprabhavagya asinam jagatishwaram hridhistham pujamasa mayayopata vigraham.
Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishmadeva, and since Bhishmadeva knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly.
पाण्डुपुत्रानुपासीनान् प्रशराय प्रेमसङ्गतान् अभ्यचष्टानुरागस्य अन्धिभूतेन चक्षुषा.
The sons of
Maharaja Pandu.
The sons of Maharaja Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection of their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishmadeva congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection.
Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharmanandanaha jivitum nahartat klishtam vipradharmachyutarishah shrayah.
Bhishmadeva said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under these tribulations, yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God and religion."
Samsthite tirthe pandau pritha bala prajavadu yushmat krite bahun kleshan praptato kavati muhu.
As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions.
Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad priyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayurivkhanavali.
In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind.
Yat dharma suto raja gadapane vikrodaraha Krishna sri gandivam chapam suhit Krishnas tatho vipat.
Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. It is irreversible otherwise. How can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon, Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas.
Na hyasa karchit rajan puman veda vidhishtitam yad vijigyasaya yukta muyanti kavayopihi.
O King, no one can know the plan of Lord Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered.
Tasmadidam daiva tattantram vyavasya bharatarshava tasyanu natha natha pahi praja prabho.
O best among the descendants of Bharata, Yudhishthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord, excepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord. You must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head, and my lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless.
Esha vai bhagavan sakshad adya narayanah puman moyayam mayaya lokam gurascharati vrishnishu.
This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer, but he is moving amongst the descendants of King Vrishni, just like one of us, and he is bewildering us with his self-created energy.
Asyanu bhavam bhagavan vedam guyatamam shiva देवर्षि नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृप.
O King, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage amongst the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all know very confidently about his glories through direct contact.
यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम् अकरो सचिवं दूतं सौदत् आथा सारथिम्.
O King, that personality whom of ignorance only, you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna.
सर्वात्मनः सर्वसमादृशो यद्व्यासायन् अहङ्कृते तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं निर्वध्यस्य न क्वचित्.
Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone, and he is free from false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material
Inability.
He is equibalanced.
तथाप्य एकान्तभक्तेषु पश्य भूपानुकम्पितं यन्मे संस्त्याजतः साक्षात् कृष्णो आगतः.
Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor.
भक्तया वेशमनो यस्मिन् वाचयन्नाम कीर्तयन् त्यजान् कलेवरं योगी मुच्यते कामकर्मभिः.
The personality of Godhead, who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation, and by chanting of the holy name, releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body.
सदेव देवो भगवान् प्रतीक्षितं कलेवरं यावदेदं हिनोम्यहं प्रसन्नः सारुणालोचनोलसन् मुखं भुजो ध्यानपातश्चतुर्भुजा.
May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, really nice. Can I share screen?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, you can share. I've made you host now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.14 and 1.9.15. So maybe we'll read it quickly and then we'll have some discussion. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayor eva ghanavalihi. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There's control by time all over the space within the universe, as there's control by time all over the planets. All the big, gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala, or time, controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthir should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he has committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. We'll also read 15 and then Yatra dharma suto raja gadapanir rakodara krishnostri gandivam chapam surata krishnastato vipat. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthir, the son of a demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in case of Pandavas. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was the symbol of religion, and above all of them, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as the well-wisher. And yet, there were so many reverses on the side of Pandavas, despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons. Under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There's nothing to be lamented when the matter is beyond the control of any human being. We can do Mangalachara. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to say something. As you all know, I'm hardly qualified either by knowledge or by realization, but Please, I beg for forgiveness in advance. I'll repeat a few things which I've heard from various lectures. Yeah, please forgive me and give your blessings that I can say something that is useful. So the context of the conversation, as we've been reading every day, is that Yudhishthir Maharaj, along with the Pandavas, have come to Bhishma Dev for his instructions. The war is finished. He's dressed really well, and Krishna, in order to pacify Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is feeling really sad, given that he's thinking that he's the cause of the war and all these deaths and destruction. So, so now Bhishma Dev, who is one of the Mahajans, is going to say a few words to help pacify Yudhishthir Maharaj, and this is the first two of the 4 shlokas, which are quite crucial in terms of how Bhishma Dev pacifies Yudhishthir Maharaj. We know Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans. Mahajans are those who are the highest authority in understanding the truth, and we are very fortunate that Bhishma Dev is giving these instructions to Yudhishthir Maharaj so that we can all learn from it. And it is said, Mahajanayena Gatasa Pantha. So there's just so much to learn, because adversities comes in everyone's life, whether devotees or not. And how do we think about these adversities in light of what Bhishma Dev is saying is something very interesting we can take away from this. So Pandavas, they have gone through so many calamities from when they were small, they lost their father, they were raised by their uncle who was blind, Dhritarashtra, but his sons were so envious towards them that like them, they nearly saw death multiple times in their life. We all know the incident where Bhim was poisoned by Duryodhan. We all know Bhim likes to eat, and Duryodhan gets a big bowl of kheer for him, which had poison equivalent that could kill about 100 people, and still, by Lord's mercy, Bhim survived. We know after that, the whole Lakshagra, where the Kauravas encouraged Pandavas to go for a holiday in this new castle, which they had built specially for them. But it was built from inflammable material. And in the night, when apparently they were sleeping, it was the palace was torched, and again, because of the mercy of the Lord and Vidura, Pandavas escaped that. Then there was continuous calamities. They were attacked by Hidimba and Hidimba. And then Bhim had the battle with Hidimba and then ends up marrying Hidimba. And then they had Ghatotkach, who had a big role to play in. Sorry, could you go on? Then we all know about the gambling match, which followed in both losing the whole kingdom, but also one of the most inhuman or shocking event which happens in their life, and they tried to destroy Draupadi in the assembly of everyone, and again Krishna saves them. But again, calamity. We know
第三，我2个孙子，你一进门，我2个孙子就踢出去。
Sorry, Mataji, you don't want to-
我讲你要他的什么？你要他的钱吗？他讲不是，不是，你为什么要这样做？
And then we know what happens. They have the Vanavas, the 12 years when they had to live in the forest. And it wasn't just simply living in the forest. Duryodhana was constantly sending Maharathis to try to kill them. Then 1 year of Agyatwas. If they had been found out, they would have to have another 12 years of Vanavas. And again, through the mercy, they could survive that. Then we all know about the Mahabharata war. We know how the 5 children of Pandavas were killed inhumanely while they were sleeping. We all know how Abhimanyu was killed in a very deceitful manner. So they went through lots of calamities. But we also know that Krishna was always with them as a friend. Krishna, Arjuna especially looked up to Krishna as his friend, as a servant. I mean, Krishna served as a charioteer for Arjuna, but also went as a messenger of Maharaj Yudhishthir to the Kauravas with a peace proposal. Yeah, they were so close to Krishna, where Krishna was there with them, of course, like Krishna called Kunti Maharani his Bua, his aunt, and they were all very close to Krishna, so fortunate they were. Actually, before we get into the causes and understand the causes, maybe we can go through the 5 principles of Bhagavad Gita, because I think that's what, when things happen, we say, well, let's refer to Bhagavad Gita. Why do bad things happen to good people and so many others? So maybe we can quickly go through the 5 principles of Bhagavad Gita, which I'm sure all of you are very aware of, but just for my benefit, I'll want to go through them, and then we can go through the various causes and how they apply to the Pandavas, if that's okay. So the 5 principles or truths in Bhagavad Gita, one is clearly Ishvara. We know he is the supreme controller of all controllers, cause of all causes, Krishna. And we know how Brahmaji sings his glories, Ishvara Param Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. He is the cause of Sarva Karan Karanam. He is the Karan of all Karan. He is the cause of all causes. And then Jiva, we know the living entities, and they're all part and parcels of Krishna. Mamevam Shojiv. Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So part and parcels of Krishna. And we also know that how Lord Chaitanya described Jiva, when I think one of the most times Lord Chaitanya spent with anyone giving his teachings was Sanatan Goswami in Varanasi, and the core foundation of the teaching was Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nityadas. So we know that the Jiva's constitutional position is to serve the Lord. But when the Jiva wants to enjoy separately from the Lord, that's when we get under the influence of the 3rd factor, which is Prakriti. So we know Lord has 3 energies: internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. External energy is Prakriti. Internal energy, we all know, is the truth, the conscious, the realized, the Brahmajyoti, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and everything spiritual. We know that the marginal energy, which is the Jiva, we are the ones who are making a choice between internal energy and external energy being the Prakriti and the and Prakriti, we all know, is made up of the 5 elements and is controlled by the 4th factor, which is time. So time doesn't control the internal energy of the Lord. It only controls the external energy. So time, we know that the material body is always under the influence of the time and constantly changing. It is said like all our cells change within a few years, and you know, it influences right from Brahma Bhuvana Loke. So it influences the whole material world, whether you are Brahma, Indra, or you are on this speck of the universe, which is the planet Earth. And the last element is karma. We know it's karma, and vikarma. Karma is when we do things which is as per the code of the morality. Vikarma is against the morality, which is sinful acts. And finally, akarma, which has no material reaction. So I just wanted to do a quick recap. I know all of you have already studied Bhagavad Gita in great detail, but some of these concepts Bhishma Dev applies in the context of Pandavas as to what's happening to them. So I think maybe in the 15th verse, Bhishma Dev says, like, materially, Pandavas have got all the ability. So he talks about how you know, Bhima is so strong. He's the warrior. You know, no one can defeat him in a battle of club. And Arjuna as well. Like he's one of the best archers on the planet, and they were really well off from a capability and ability perspective that anyone can even imagine to have. So clearly, despite having the material qualifications, they were still going through calamity. So that is no qualification that can explain how, you know, things can be different. And then if you go to karma, we know Yudhishthira Maharaj especially, he is son of Dharma. So he couldn't have been son of Dharma if in the past lives he had been, he had some prarabdha left. Like he always did the righteous thing. He is Dharma personified. He never spoke a word of lie. In fact, yeah, he's it's if we reflect on it, like someone who never speaks lie is quite deep. It's very hard because in day-to-day life, it's very hard to not modify the truth. I mean, the only time Yudhishthira Maharaj modified the truth or tried to say something, and because he didn't say it as Krishna was asking him to say, Akshakthama is dead, his rath, which used to you know, fly in the sky, came down onto the earth. So like there could not have been any prarabdha or karma associated with Yudhishthira Maharaj. So that could not be the cause of their suffering. So what is it? And these two verses talk a lot about kala or time. So and I mean, maybe let's explore time a little bit. I mean, if you look at Lord Indra, even you know, he's kind of the lord of the devatas, but still he's under control of time. We know like everything was going well for Indra, and then he offended Durvasa Muni, and all of a sudden, he lost all his opulences. We know another time when Indra offended Brahaspati, his guru. Again, he lost all opulences in one go. So like with time, everything can be going all right, and then all of a sudden something happened, and we also know that Indra became, he went into the body of a pig because of a curse again. So it's like even Indra couldn't was influenced by time. We know in the material world also lots of things happen and change with the passage of time. Like someone who could be our friend could be enemy in times to come. Someone who is healthy now could be ill tomorrow and healthy again. And I mean, let's take the example of Japan and America. Who could have thought that within 100 years, America bombed Japan with nuclear bombs and destroyed, cities after cities and defeated it. Now it's the same US that is giving Japan protection. They are the ones, Japan doesn't even have their own army, and they're getting full protection from US. And similarly, in the lives of Pandavas, I mean, they were in the forest and then they became emperor in 18 days after the war. So I think everything, quite a lot, was happening as a result of time. So how do we understand it? I mean, clearly, time is also, in a way, Krishna's desire, as it is said, and Krishna sees time in devotees see time also in terms of Krishna's plan. But do we believe that Pandavas really suffered because of time? And there's another shloka I want to share. It's Kapil Muni saying to let me share 1 second. Kapil Muni was saying to his mother, if I can change. Sorry about that. So it's in the 3rd canto. There's a shloka which talks about time and the influence of time, and Kapil Muni is Lord Kapila is talking to his mother Devahuti, and it goes like Nakarhi chammat prara santarupe nan kshanti no me nimishole diheti ye samaham priyatma sutascha sakha guru suhrido devam ishtam. So the Lord continued, my dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulence are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences. Because the devotees accept me as their friend, their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity, they cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. So if we analyze this, did Pandava see Krishna as their friend? Yeah, Arjun saw Krishna as his friend, relatives. They were related. Their son. Clearly, Kunti Maharani had motherly affection for Krishna. Benefactor, well-wisher. Krishna was always their well-wisher, saving them from various things, including Durvasa Muni coming to their place to have lunch. So I mean, clearly it couldn't have been just time. And it says, nor the change of time can destroy such opulences of devotees who accept Krishna as that. So it is not time either. So how do we understand that? What is the cause? And again, it goes back to Ishvara Param Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Nadir Govinda Sarvakaran Karanam. We understand this as Krishna's plan. And that's why Pandavas went through this. So Pandavas, why were they, or how did they manage to go through this? And Prabhupada says like there were three things they were taking shelter of as they were going through these calamities, and why it did not impact them. One is Vipra, which stands for Vaishnavas or Brahmanas. Second is Dharma, the religious principles, and Achyuta, which is Krishna himself. So we need to see this as the three things we should always take shelter in life: Vaishnavas, Dharma, which is religious principles, and Achyuta. Also, it is said that Tattenu kampa susamikshmana bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam hidvagva purvira vedadan namaste jive tayo bhakti padesa daibhag. So I'm trying to find the verse, but essentially one who is always tolerant in going through the various miseries from the modes of material nature, and is very patiently waiting for Krishna. Ultimately, Krishna does anukampa, and then the Krishna's mercy comes, and they become the rightful owner of going back home, back to Godhead. And so that's probably one of the most important lessons from what Bhishma Dev was talking about. I'll pause there. I mean, any questions, corrections, comments? No? Did I make sense at all?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you for the wonderful class, But I'm just confused about time. What time means? Is it bad time or good time? I can't understand that.
Yeah. So time is constantly acting. Time
Yeah.
is constantly acting on our body.
Mm-hmm.
Time, whether we like it or not, our body is getting old. Time is constantly acting on the various things material. Time doesn't act in the spiritual world is one concept to understand. About bad time and good time, that bad time and good time comes as a result of a past karma, right? So if you have prarabdha, but if we have done something bad in the past, it doesn't happen immediately, right? Like the reaction doesn't come immediately. There's a time for the reaction to come. It's explained like, if you have deposited some money in the bank account, and say it's a bank holiday or a Sunday when the bank doesn't open, you can't access the money. So you have to wait for Monday or the next day for you to be able to withdraw the money. Likewise, there is time plays a role in terms of when the prarabdha or the karma manifests itself in terms of reaction, which could either be good time or bad time, is how we describe it. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. So karma is involved as well.
Sorry,
Is karma is involved in the time as well?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very well explained. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class. And I just want to know why. It just came into my mind. Why the time delays? Why doesn't it happen at the time whenever it needed to, and it delays and happen? It fructifies some other time. Why is it? Is it? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, time works by the laws that that Krishna has defined for it, and that's how things are. Because if everything start to happen instantaneously, things will start to feel a little bit awkward. So that's how like, why does an iPhone works in a certain way? Because that's how it has been built. And that's how the material nature has been built, with the manual in terms of what happens, has got reactions, and it comes in a certain way after a certain duration. But it does come, and of course there's a way to intervene where Krishna himself personally, either reduces the reaction. We all know, like, various other spiritual activities can change it, but overall, without that, from a material perspective only, something will happen. Like we all say, we are conditioned souls, right? What is the condition? If we've taken birth, we will die, and if we die, we'll take birth again. I think those are the two truths that Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Like there's, like Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada was asked once, there's high mortality rate in India, and he said, no, it's 100%. Wherever people are, like they have to, if you've taken birth, you will die. Sorry, Mataji.
Yeah, carry on.
No, please, you say.
No, I just said, yeah, and people die everywhere. That's what I was saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, that's how the material world, as defined as the Khalima Shashvatam, and that's how it has been built. That is the user manual that has been
all been programmed. All been
designed in a certain way. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else wants to chip in? I'm sorry, my understanding is very limited. So anyone wants to chip in? And
you've done very well, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there are no other comments or questions, thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Now I think we have bhajan. Should we move on to that, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. We have Harsha Mataji who will be singing the bhajan, and dear Orpita will be reciting the English translation of the bhajan before Harsha Mataji sings. So, Orpita, are you ready to read the English translation, please? Thank you.
Yes.
You can start, Orpita.
Okay, Hare Krishna. The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva Sal, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hare, who is the giver of liberation, the enemy of Mora demon, the supreme enjoyer, the all-attractive one, and the horse-headed incarnation, Hayagriva. Lord Hare, Krishna, is incarnated as the half-man, half-lion, Nishima. He has appeared as a dwarf Brahmana named Upendra, and he is the killer of the Madhu demon. He is the beloved son of the king Vraja, Nanda Maharaja, and is blackish in complexion. He is the slayer of the Putana witch and the destroyer of the demon Ketaba. All glories to Lord Hare, who has appeared as Lord Ram, the son of King Dasarat. He is the darling of Mother Yashoda, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land and spiritual senses, and the protector of the cows. He is the lord of the Vrindavan forest, the gopis beloved, the lover of Radhika, and the most beautiful personality in all worlds. As Ramachandra, he brought about the end of the demoniac king Ravan
As Krishna, he stole the older gopis' butter. He stole the younger gopis' clothes while they were bathing in the Yamuna. He is a coward boy of Raja and the protector of the coward boys. He steals the hearts of all and always holds a flute. Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of the inhabitants of Raja. He is the color and the fresh rain. He is the color of a fresh rain cloud, and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about playing his flute, he looks very charming. He is the son of Yashoda and the killer of King Kamsa, and he sports in the Rasa dance among the groves of Raja. Krishna engages in this rasa dance underneath the kadamba trees, and he resides in the forest of Vrindavan. He increases the ecstasy of his devotees. He is the reservoir of all love, and he is a transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis. He is the pleasure of the gopis' hearts and is the abode of all wonderful qualities. Lord Krishna is the life of the river Yamuna. He is always absorbed in the amorous pastimes, and he is the moon of the gopis' minds, which are like the chakra birds that subsist only upon moonlight. O mind, obey these words of mine, and sing the glories of Sri Krishna in the form of these holy names, which are full of nectarian mellows. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Orpita. Very nicely recited. Hari Bol. Harsha Mataji, are you ready to sing the bhajan, please?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Vipavadi Sesha Aloka Pravesha Nidra Jari Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Morari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Nasima Vamana Shrimad Sudana Prajendra Shama Putana Gotana Ketava Satana Jayada Sarati Rama Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavan Hara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Vara Ravana Taskara Makana Taskara Vrindavan Gopi Jana Vasahari Rajira Kala Gopa Vrindapala Chittari Bamsidari Yogindra Bandana Shri Nandanandana Raja Janabhayahari Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bhakti Bihari Yashodanandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunjara Savila Asi Kadama Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrinda Vipina Nivasi Ananda Vardana Remani Ketana Pula Saraju Jaga Ma Gopagana Gana Chitta Vidodana Samasta Gunaganada Ma Yamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chanda Chakora Amasudarasa Rao Krishna Jasa Rakhovachan Manamora Vipavadi Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nindra Jari Yutta Jiva बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मोरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा हरे कृष्णा
Hari Bol. Very nice singing, Harsha Mataji. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jyoti Mataji, for sharing the lyrics on screen. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Are we doing the Vaishnav prayer?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.